Hi, Arcus679 here, and today I'm going to explain a little bit about some beginner decks to kind of get you started in Q and give you that quick head start. So, let's go over the type of decks. In Q, there are three main types of decks: aggro decks, mid-range decks, and control decks. Aggro decks have the best cards of all albums, and really excel in doing a quick beatdown type of playing, in which you win in the first 3 rounds. Mid-range decks have a mix of semi-quick ramping as well as early power, making them very good for all rounds in the game. Control decks use one base archetype or collection to quickly snowball and become unstoppable in later rounds. So let's go through all 3 of them. First, let's start with aggro decks. These decks often have the best cards in each album, and are what I like to call beatdown decks. They have the potential to win extremely fast within the first 3 rounds, but fall off due to the lack of ramping and overall synergy. As you can see in the deck, there are a lot of legendary and high rarity cards that have a lot of power and a lot of utility. However, there is very little synergy to these cards and not much permanence, meaning that they're really good in the early rounds, but tend to fall off a little later. Let's look at 2 main cards in aggro decks. The first one is Martin Luther King Jr. This card is really good because it provides all your cards a plus 20 buff this turn, meaning that if you play 3 cards, you get plus 60. As well as if you win the round, you get plus 1 energy per turn permanently. This is really good, and it allows you to start playing cards really early and really quickly, as well as just being a really great card. The other one is Dusky Dolphin, which essentially its 5 cost for 100 power is fantastic in any deck. The next type of decks are mid-range decks. These decks will start up strong and keep throwing late, allowing them to contest all rounds. Their strength is their flexibility, but it's also their weakness, as they are kind of a jack of all trades. However, they will have trouble contesting aggro early and control late. As you can see in the decks, Sue Black's is fantastic, however, it eventually plateaus because of this playstyle. However, it is good in all rounds. However, this doesn't mean that you're going to be winning 100% of the times in the early game or the late game, so you have to balance when you win and when you lose. Some key cards in this deck include Galapagos Tortoise, which allows the life on land cards to actually serve a purpose rather than just being there. It allows all the science cards to gain a plus 13 if there are 6 or more of them, so having 6 of them are critical. Speaking of these life on land cards, Bactrian Camel serves spectacularly as just a tank, being able to gain up to 180 power if you're trailing by 100 in the second round. The final deck we'll look at today are control decks. These decks usually grow in power over time. They have permanent buffs or power per turn or a specific archetype of card. They do really well in the later rounds, but need to be careful not to get run over in those first 3. So, let's take a look at some key cards. The first card is Amelia Earhart. When played, this has plus 8 permanently, and if paired with a lot of power per turn cards similar to this, can quickly gain over 100 by the 4th round, as it's extremely powerful, as you're able to really back up your more tanky cards to have really massive turns in the end of the game. The second card is Flying Cloud, and when returned to the deck, this gains plus 100 permanently. And this is absolutely insane, as by round 5, if you're playing it right, this can gain plus 200, and a 5 cost 200 is absolutely insane. So, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Arcus679. My referral code is there. And also, shout out to Mr. Math 314 for providing some decks and really helping me organize this video. You can check him out on twitch.tv/Mr. Math 314. He has great streams and honestly awesome dude. So, anyway, that has been all, and thanks a lot for watching.